Okay, time to talk about Dark Gennai. Okay, so as I stated in the original video about Gennai, I think that this is just a slightly like this is like a Gennai that was like a clone of the original Gennai that was then like turned dark by King Drazel or turned dark by insert whatever variation of evil thing in the digital world. And we actually see him running around in two different disguise. Well, in his normal self, and then in his disguise is what we're initially introduced to him as wearing. And the disguise that he wears is a grown up version of when he's running around the human world in Digimon Adventure Tri, because this is where he's introduced. And he's kind of like one of the main villains because he's kind of like pushing things along and everything. And he is disguised as a older version of Ken, but it's the Digimon Emperor version of Ken. So it's, they think that it's Ken initially when they see him, but he's revealed to be Dark Gennai later on. So what we see with the Dark Gennai is he has chosen to side with King Drazel. We don't ever see King Drazel in this. King Drazel is actually a little bit more of a character in a Digimon series that's called Digimon Savers or Digimon Data Squad, which at some point I might do a review on. I don't know yet. I've only seen the entire series, that season, through once, and that was several years ago. So I don't know if I'll be going through that one at some point or not. I might not. I don't know. But we have with Gennai, King Drazel is just stated to be this, he's this being that thinks he's the king of the digital world and that he wants to kind of make it in his image and get humans out of there. This version of Gennai, that I'm pretty sure King Drazel just kind of created and likes to have fun with, uses him as like his henchman. Basically is like, yeah, he basically acts the same way, and he's psycho and psychotic and disturbed and messed up in the head, and this Gennai thinks that humans are basically a horrible thing for Digimon to interact with, that they're a disease, that they're an infection, and that's what he thinks, and he basically acts on those moments. And the first time that we see him is he kind of watches as the infected Ogremon attacks Primary Village at one point, and then when the kids are having their cultural festival at their high school, when Himekawa leaves Meikumon on her own at one point, Ken then finds Meikumon and tries to kidnap her. And basically, he like taunts the other Digi-Destined and, and this is when Mimi and Joe's Digimon digivolve all the way up to Rosemon and Vikemon. And he actually has a version of kind of an infected version of Imperial Dramon Fighter Mode, which is the fully evolved version of Ty or Matt and Davis's, or not Matt and Davis's, Ty and Davis and Ken. Sorry, Davis and Ken's Digimon fully digivolved, but it's like a darker version of it. And he uses that to then fight against Rosemon and Vikemon. He also uses this as a way to kind of fight against Leomon. And via this interaction, it kind of like scares Meikumon enough that she ends up digivolving. And she turns into Meikumon Vicious Mode, or Celtation Mode, or something like that. One of the next versions that she turns into. And then after the battle, she then attacks Leomon and kills Leomon, and then she vanishes. And this is what Ken was hoping for. This is what Dark Gennai was hoping for. Then later, after the digital world has been rebooted, Gennai then Dark Gennai ends up being revealed, it's revealed that this Ken has actually been Dark Gennai. And he's actually kind of been pulling strings behind the scenes. Him and Himekawa have actually been working together to be able to result in the digital world having to have this reboot. So that way she can then go see Tapirmon again. So she can have her, as Gennai puts it, a deeply emotional reunion with Tapirmon. And this version of Gennai wears like a dark, black version of like the robe that the regular Gennai would wear. And he's the Gennai, he's the dark version of like the young version of Gennai. Dark version of the old one would be also kind of interesting, but could also go, since I made a reference to like that one being like a Yoda / Obi-Wan Kenobi reference, like I guess we can go with like a Palpatine. Just like evil old Gennai would be like him, like a black cloak, and going, bring me Luke Skywalker. Wrong franchise. Bring me Ty. Okay, that works. Blah, blah, blah. But what, of course, then throughout the course of the rest of the time frame when the Digidestined are in the digital world, evil Gennai, Dark Gennai, then keeps sending all of these evil Digimon after them. He sends Machine Dramon and Metal Sea Dramon after them that are these new kind of reincarnated versions of the Dark Masters that the Digidestined fought already, so many years ago. And he like interacts with a bunch of them and like twists them and manipulates them, and at one point for some freaking reason when he's like interacting with them, he like pins Sora and then licks her. And I don't understand why. I'm just like, the F wrong with you. The F is wrong with you, dude. And like at one point Joe actually physically attacks Dark Gennai. And like they're all confused because like, well, Gennai was our friend. It was even stated earlier in the series that like, oh, Gennai was our friend. He gave us advice and helped us and such like that. And then this one is just like a twisted version of Gennai, and he looks sick. He looks so freaking psychotic at times. It's not even funny. It's just like, oh my god, why? And he's voiced by the same guy that voices Gennai, which is actually I don't remember what exact name is, but he's the same guy that voices like Tentomon in his line. He voices Gennai, or the young Gennai. I don't remember if he voices the old Gennai as well, but he voices young Gennai and Dark Gennai and the Tentomon line. But he is just, Dark Gennai is just so creepy and disturbing, and like at one point he like corners Mako when she's in the digital world, after the Digidestined have kind of been reunited with their Digimon and then separated and reunited with each other and everything. And, Mako is kind of, he's basically, his intention is to basically hold Mako hostage in order to force Mekumon to Digivolve again. And he basically, he has her like pinned at one point, and then he has her like in like I'm just gonna go with the reference again, a forced chokehold with like a data ring or something around her neck that's like choking her, and his intention is to like keep her and then force Mekumon to Digivolve again, which she does, and she Digivolves into a Crackmon. Crackmon, something like that is what she Digivolves into, which is what he wanted, because now she's gotten even stronger and more twisted. And he's, smiling whenever, something bad happens with the Digidestined. And he's, like, even shown smiling at one point when it appears like Tai dies when him and Nishijima fall into the valley. And he's, like, watching on happily when, like, Kari goes into her, like, shock and, like, Warp Dark Digivolves Nearmon all the way up to Ophanimon Fallen Down mode. And then, of course, they Digivolve into... that DNA Digivolves with Regalamon, who is the fully evolved version of Mekumon, into Ordinemon. And he is extremely pleased and happy when, Ordinemon is born, and when Ordinemon's power starts opening up all of these different digital gates that lead into the real world, and he starts sending all of these other Digimon into the real world, Tankmon and Datamon, like all these other ones that can cause so much havoc all over the real world because they can hack into their systems and cause all of this problems and this damage and everything. And he's like, King Drazel's plan will be fulfilled and everything. And, he was pulling the strings to help, Maki, Himikawa worked with King Drazel and worked with all of this other stuff, and he's the one that like captured. It's revealed, that he's the one that captured Davis and Ken and Yoli and Cody, and then the real Gennai trapped them in like this lab where like they're on life support, and when Tai and Nishijima woke up down there, then as I mentioned in the Gennai video and the Tai video and the Nishijima video, that Gennai, the Dark Gennai, is there, and he explains to them, well, there's life, they're inside those pods and it's on life support, but I'm just gonna turn off the life support, and they'll either die or whatever. He doesn't care. And this is of course Nishijima tricks Tai and sends Tai and the other four and Gennai, the real Gennai, into the real world to save them. And at this point in time, Dark Gennai is like extremely happy and like has this like maniacal smile all over the face as he's watching as Digimon is just causing chaos everywhere, all over the real world, and just like all over the human world, just like chaos everywhere, and watching as like the Digidestined are struggling to try to fight against her, and he's just like happily watching, and then of course he also ends up watching as like this is when Tai does show back up and he's reunited with the others, and Kari's snapped out of her mourning section, and they get all the Digimon's memories back, and they get Ophanimon or Omnimon merciful mode, and then they kill Ordinimon. And the Digidestined have been reunited with their Digimon and everything except for Mako, as I mentioned in her video. But what we cut to is in 3 months later, after Ordinimon has been destroyed, the younger kids are, hospitalized and they're recovering and everything, and supposedly the real Gennai is getting better as well. And then Dark Gennai is seen, and he is holding on to a tiny little black square that is said to be, that he says is like this tiny little piece of Apoclomon's data. And this tiny little piece is what had infected Meikumon originally, infected like her Digi-egg before she hatched, and then that was what made this virus grow and change and then infect the other Digimon. So he's also kind of just like, oh, I'll just drop this data piece into here and everything, and it'll cause more infections. And he's I think he's back in his like Digimon Emperor disguised form or whatever. And he says, well, I still got this shard of Apoclomon's data. Let's see what else I can do with it. There's so many others that I can have fun with. And he's like, well, there's Daemon, and there's Diaboromon, and then he like disappears, falls into another distortion, and then, is gone. And thus far, we have not seen any more of him. I don't particularly think we're going to see any more of him. I guess there's always something that they can do to come up with, something else that they can do to find a reason to bring it back, but I don't particularly think that's going to happen. But I look at, as I stated, this dark version of Gennai, he's literally called Dark Gennai, is, and like actually when he's in his Digimon Emperor form, he actually has a different voice to like hide, I guess, that, and that's actually voiced by Tom Heberkorn, I think, who is the voice of Natsu from Fairy Tail and other things all over the place for Funimation. But what ends up happening, what I kind of think happens with Dark Gennai, just headcanon for me, is that, he was created as this alternate version of Gennai. This original Gennai is meant to be this helper for the children, meant to help guide them down certain areas, explain to them, this is where you need to go, this path will take you to a safer spot. Whereas this Dark Gennai is like a, copy of him, but then like turned on his head. He thinks that humans are an infection, that they shouldn't exist, that they shouldn't interact with Digimon to begin with, that he wanted the Digimon to all forget about their humans and everything, because then A, the good Digimon aren't as much of a threat because it's harder for them to digivolve, and then the bad Digimon can then, reign supreme, and King Drazel can then like reign supreme over the other Digimon. It is stated that King Drazel has been shut down at that point in time by homeostasis, and as I said, I am going to do a video about homeostasis and like kind of what we know about it so far. And we see Dark Gennai. This is the only time that we see him is in Digimon Adventure Tri. He's not referenced in later on in Digimon Adventure, the last evolution. And as far as I'm aware, there's never any hint of something else in like the previous series. Like we see all the Gennai clones and his copies, his counterparts that were like all over the world that were helping the Digidestined during the Digimon World Tour setup, but all of those ones seem to still be good and still be helpful to the children, whereas this Gennai is obviously not. This Gennai is sick and twisted and demented and wants to cause the children harm, and it would be perfectly okay if they died, as long as it helped his goal, because he seemed happy when Tai and Nishijima seemed to die, and he liked it when Kari went crazy. And I will amend my earlier statement where instead of it being like, old man version of Dark Gennai, instead of it being, bring me, I did the Luke Skywalker, bring me Tai. No, it's bring me Kari. Her I can mess with. I will mess with the light and turn it dark. And like he would probably have loved that, because it's like, and because I was like, okay, don't know why I'm thinking about this, but I'm going to throw this out there. Because I'm recording this on Halloween, and my head's in a twisted place at the moment. So, if by chance Ordinamon had succeeded in causing, the destruction of the human world and like severing all the ties with the digital world, and then like another reboot in the digital world happened and the Digimon like all forgot about their humans again, and Gennai won, Dark Gennai won, and King Drazel won and everything, and they get what they wanted. In all intents and purposes, all of the Digidestined are going to be in a very dark spot at that point in time, particularly Kari, because if Tai hadn't, she kind of gotten knocked out of her, oh my god, Tai is dead, head shock space before Tai came back, and then of course Tai coming back just helped her mental stability greatly, by a lot. But like, Kari has always been depicted, Kari and Ken have always been depicted as these Digidestined that can be very easily turned. Because Ken got turned in the Digimon Emperor. That was partially because of the Dark Spore, as I explained in his video and in the Dark Spore Kids video, that it was because of the Dark Spore that he was infected with, that like it increased his, sped up his turn to the dark side. With Kari, she gets interacted with by the Dark Ocean multiple times. There's, the whole episode about it in, Digimon Season 2. And she is this, she's this representation of light. And if the darkness can snuff out the light, then, take Kari and turn her into something else. Take Kari and manipulate her into this other thing. Or make her, have, Nyaromon, just losing Tai made Nyaromon, turn all the way into a Phanimon fallen down mode and then form into Ordinamon. You take that power and, you get rid of Kari's mom and dad in that same aspect. You get rid of the other Digidestined and her friends in that aspect. And, like, she will just go darker and darker and darker with her grief. And, not a good idea, but then, like, have Gennai, Dark Gennai, like, Stockholm Syndrome her. And just make her into, like, this dark princess type of a thing. And then, like, have Gatomon, Gatomon would then eventually turn into, basically like Dark Godamon, and then eventually like you get Lilithmon by technicality out of all of that and everything, because I believe a dark or a black Godamon that has to turn into regular Godamon can turn into Lilithmon as well, but like Black Godamon is more the one that is like hinted to turn the Lilith into a Lilithmon more easily. But like, you know, Gennai could have done that. Thing they could do if they want to do another Digimon thing down the line, do something with Kari. I don't know if they will or not, but that's just like something that they could do. Would have been a good thing for Dark Gennai to attempt, because like, you know, just turning her into that, you know, that one moment of Dark Warp Digivolving into, you know, Finimon falling down mode into, you know, or Dinemon caused a lot of damage. And, you know, particularly if you basically put Kari into this very, very dark place. And I don't remember if I've done a video about the Dark Ocean yet or not. I might have. If I haven't, then I already have planned to do a video about the Dark Ocean. And that'll be talking about like Kari and Ken and their relationship with that. And what would happen, like kind of like if Kari fell into the darkness, which is kind of where this goes as well. So, that's what we have for Dark Gennai. Much shorter than the original one, but we don't see as much of Dark Gennai as we see of the original one. So I thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you have a nice rest of your day. And since I'm recording this on Halloween, I hope you had a happy Halloween. And now I hope that you're getting ready to have a happy Thanksgiving, if you celebrate Thanksgiving, or a happy insert whatever other holidays are in your country at that point in time. I don't know. I'm in America, so we have Thanksgiving, so that's fun. So thank you very much. Bye. Humans and Digimon should never have met up in the first place. You've done nothing but interfere with their lives from the very beginning.